I'm Lynette Dzwonkowski, food shelf director, housekeeper of the rectory.
I'm Tim Beaurline. I also work in the food shelf, do the cooking, help out in pull tabs. My mother, Carol Beaurline, and Father Robert Monahan started the food shelf in 1983 when people started coming to the front door of the rectory asking for food. They saw how many people were coming and they decided to start buying food and handing it out to people that were in need. All of a sudden we got a large quantity of people coming to our rectory asking for help. So we started out looking around to see what kind of availability funds there were for availability, and we found EFN and Second Harvest, which helped us get some funds and food through them, plus all the parishioners here in the church also donated quite a bit of money to help us start out our food shelf. We are now serving approximately 130 families a month. When they first started coming to the door, it was probably 10 or 15 families. So we've gone up quite a bit, and with the economy as bad as it is, I believe we're probably hit 200 or 3, you know. What we do is we make up the bags, and then we have also a meat bag that we hand out. The meat bag consists of hamburger, hot dogs, meatballs, buffalo meatballs that we get from a parishioner, and whatever else we can find, like chicken and that. It doesn't help them get through the whole month, but it helps them get by at least 2 to 3 weeks of what we're giving them. A lot of them have come back and said, we have found jobs now, we don't need the food shelf no more, but we really appreciate it, and if there's something that we can do, please give us a call. We like to hear things like that, and we hope that other people will help out our food shelf. We've kept it going for a long time, and we'd like to keep it going even longer. You have to register with us because we have certain boundaries, and our boundaries are from Nicollet to Lindale,
30th to 50th.
and 30th to 50th.
And the reason we have boundaries is because we are with EFN, Emergency Food Shelf Network, and they have a map and everybody's got boundaries. And that way people know where to go. When they call 311, they'll give them the correct place to go. And then they just have to bring in a picture ID and a piece of mail proving where they live. We don't care what their income is. We don't ask that kind of stuff. We just, they're here, they need it, we give it to them.
Well, they can come in anytime during the month and they can look through the clothes and they can take whatever they want out there in the clothing shelf.
And that's all parishioners have been dropping it off, and Sergato's been bringing a lot of clothes over, and Patty, one of our volunteers, she keeps that place tip-top shape.
We have
Folding
some
all
good
the time.
workers down here.
Yeah, we have Roger Kurtz, and then we have Patty, Carolyn, and then John Voss. And it's worked out great. We're only open 2 days, Tuesdays and Thursdays, 8:30 to 2:30. Some of the shelves are open more, but with our volunteers and our other jobs, that's been working out for us. Well, we don't really get the money from Second Harvest or EFN. That's just where we shop because they have the cheaper prices. We pay like 18 cents a pound at Second Harvest for almost everything. That's why money donations goes further than, you know, actually groceries, but we never turn away groceries, of course. Parishioners basically are running this. 99% of the money comes from the parishioners,
Yep.
which is awesome. And we're giving away between 5,000 and 8,000 pounds a month. We used to do holiday baskets, but that's just possible now. We
Yeah.
try to get a ham or a turkey for the holidays to each person, but that's about all we can do there. We have Lake Country, they help out, they do food drives. We have Annunciation, they do food drives. They've brought in lots of food. We've had Girl Scouts, Boy Scouts.
But as you can see, when you were here last week, that shelf behind me was a lot fuller, and now it's getting pretty bare. You know, and that was just 1 week. If you don't have a proof of address or anything, we'll still give you an emergency bag, you know, to get you by. They'll get an emergency basket, you know, and that's about all we can do for them.
And then we direct the ones that are out of the boundaries to the correct one to go to. And if it happens to be they're really, really desperate, we'll just, okay, then here's where you go the next time. That works out. My favorite one is 80-some-year-old lady. She was using the food shelf. She said if it wasn't for the food shelf, she wouldn't be able to keep her cat because she had to pay extra rent. So she used the food shelf to feed herself so she could pay the extra rent to keep her cat. But that was her best friend, and she wasn't going to, you know, she needed to have an apartment that would allow an animal. But that's because I'm an animal lover. That's my favorite one.
We had another family that came here from Chicago, and it was the first time they ever used the food shelf.
That was this past winter, yeah.
And a little boy says to me, do you have any hats or mittens? And at the time we didn't. But I put a thing in the bulletin about it. And the following week, or the following month when he came back, he had his choice of whatever hats and mittens he wanted. The parishioners really came through that time. And he was just in heaven. He got the Vikings one and the Vikings mittens. He was just in heaven. That was his favorite team.